if Grant's ready, if Sean's ready, if Ryan's ready, and most importantly, if Brian's ready.
Most importantly, no. Most importantly, if you ready.
Everything breaks down without you, Pally.
No, yeah, that's not true.
All right.
All right, ready?
Here
we go.
Be good humans, be good humans, be good humans, or we will think you suck. Be good humans, be good humans, be good humans, or we will think you suck.
Welcome back to the Be Good Humans podcast.
Thanks for coming.
Oh my gosh, we hope everyone is enjoying the holidays, whatever it is you celebrate, however it is you may be celebrating it.
Did you give me anything yet? Have you shopped yet? Have you shopped for me yet? How did you give me a hint?
Well, you know, it's kind of behind us now, so if you didn't get a gift already, I don't know how to break this to you.
My gift is behind me?
Yeah, we'll get into that later. Welcome back to the show. Brian, here's what I want to ask, because while everyone else watching and listening is probably enjoying some version of a winter wonderland, wherever they might be watching or listening, you and I here in LA, like, you know, it just comes with the territory that it's just another hot day in LA, right? But the good news is...
It's in the 80s, so it's not that hot. Well, however, I'm sweating here because I'm wearing a scarf in celebration of the holidays.
Yes, well, and it's also always freezing in this studio like we like it.
Like it that way.
But at least in LA, while everyone else might be shoveling snow in their driveways around the country, we can always go to the beach.
People are hating us right now.
I know, that's true. But Brian, I don't know if we've talked, but how do you feel about the beach? Do you
the beach?
Yeah, do you like spend a lot of time on the water or the beach?
Yes.
Or like, you know, I know we both have pools, but like we literally have in our backyards, relatively speaking, the Pacific Ocean. So like
Yeah. I do love the beach for about an hour. I'm not, as you can tell, glass of milk with hair. I don't lay out to tan. I'm not. You know, I'm either bright red or white.
The sun is not our friend.
No.
Right.
And sand it tends to get in all my crevices. So but I love swimming in the beach and boating in the beach. Boating off the beach,
out on the water. So you don't get seasick, I'm guessing.
I do not. I'm lucky. I love all water sports. In fact. I have a great friend who used to have a sports boat, and it was well used. You know, wasn't anything fancy.
Sure,
had a nice engine on back.
Okay.
But, we take it to lakes like Lake Castaic. All over. And one time he took us and we launched it. I think out of Redondo Beach into the ocean.
Okay.
And he made a mistake by showing me something we could do, and I couldn't get enough of it, being me.
Okay. Well,
you rev it up as fast as you can go, and you are actually boating towards the waves. So you are getting honest to goodness air.
Yeah, right. Wow.
And you learn really quick to stand up like this, and not, because it'll wreck your back and your rump and all that.
Wow.
So that was, and then one time, that day, in fact, we were doing that, and he kind of actually pulled the plug on the riding over the waves because it was damaging. He was worried about his boat, which I can understand.
Yeah.
But he pulled into this kind of an alcove about 20, 30 yards off the shore. I didn't know where we were.
Right.
And of course we had music going and all that. He immediately turns the music off and he just sits there.
Okay.
And I'm thinking, okay, what are we gonna?
Is this when I get rolled?
Is this right? This is what's happening. He goes, shh, just wait. Okay. So I'm sitting there in complete silence.
Okay.
And less than a minute later, I hear this. And over the head came, so close, a 727 jet airplane. I mean, it was at the end of the runway.
Out there by LAX?
LAX.
Wow.
It was just like that scene in Wayne's World where they're chatting on the end.
Right.
Here we go, hang on. And it was the most, so special.
That's intense.
An experience. You feel it.
Yeah.
You know, you feel it. So,
of course.
So that kind of fun, yeah. But laying on the beach and getting sand up my places, no.
Yeah, okay. Well,
how about you?
I mean, look, we both grew up in the Midwest, the heartland, all that stuff. So like my first time out to LA was when I was 14 years old, and we all came on a family vacation. And my birthday is Christmas Eve. Thanks for the gifts.
They're behind you.
Yeah, exactly. My birthday's Christmas Eve, but so we celebrated my birthday and Christmas on the beach in Santa Monica with my parents brought a little tree that they put on the sand and all that. So like,
that's kind of cool.
I do like the beach. Like you, I'm far too fair-skinned to really enjoy it for very long. But getting out on the water, like, do you ever scuba dive or surf or scuba or snorkeling, any of that stuff?
Yeah, scuba.
Okay.
I've been a long time skydiver, and I decided, hey, let's do another thing. And so I took the lessons, and I became certified scuba diver.
It's a big adrenaline rush.
It was until I think it was my first. Well, the first time out was like just in and out, but but the second time we took a boat off of Catalina.
Yeah.
And my dive master, is that what you call it?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm trying to remember. We got all suited up and we jumped off and we're swimming around and I'm still trying to remember all the lessons you learn. I mean, now we're actually scuba diving and what do you never do this like, hey, I'm having a great time. Right? You do that. Like, I'm okay. Because this means get me up.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, this is a good rule. Mm-hmm. So we're submerged and swimming along, and all of a sudden it starts getting a little murky.
Oh boy!
And he's right there. You know, he's right there. Okay, I think my heart's beating a little faster now. And then it got a lot more murky.
Oh boy!
And then I could not see my hand in front of my face. Now, skydiving is this wonderful, all the space in the world. If you're, claustrophobic, you won't ever feel that.
Yeah.
However, when I couldn't see him.
Yeah.
I didn't know where he was.
Yeah.
I honestly didn't know what was up and what was down.
Yeah.
I panicked.
Yeah.
And I started breathing really, really heavy.
Yeah.
And that was the day that I stopped enjoying.
Oh, yeah.
It was a very short-lived career in scuba diving. I just stuck with skydiving.
That's when you're checking to see if the tags are still on the wetsuit
exactly.
or whatever.
Yeah. How about you?
Well, see, that's the problem. Like, I've had some beautiful experiences in the water. I've never done scuba diving. I've only snorkeled, okay? But like, I've been to the South Pacific. So in Moorea, I had this enchanting, dreamlike experience where I literally got to, with a dive master or snorkel master's help, I got to, grab onto the back of a sea tortoise and be jetted through the water, just like beautiful things, right? But the problem with it in my experience, much like your story, is that we really don't belong there as human beings. Like, it's beautiful to look at. Probably better if you just went to the local aquarium and supported them. But like, when you're in the water, like, things can go really wrong really quickly.
Really fast. And in fact, I'm kind of surprised that they let you grab hold of the
probably
the
in retrospect, maybe not the best thing to be doing to any tortoise or any sea creature. But I remember once in Bora Bora, like, it's the classic, you slide open your coffee table in your over the water thatched roof hut, and then you dive into the body temperature water, and it couldn't be more beautiful. So I dive in and I look down underneath our hut about 8 feet down. So I can hold my breath and get down there well enough. But I see a coconut. And so it occurs to me, there's a goal. That'll be fun. I'm going to swim down and get that coconut.
Sure.
Never once doing the mental math to recognize that coconuts float, you idiot. Whatever that is not a coconut.
Yeah.
So it's not until I get down there and reach out for it that it sprouts 8 legs and fills the water with squid ink, and then I'm like screaming like a girl underwater. Yeah, whatever it was.
Did it feel mushy?
I didn't touch it because it blew all of its ink into the water and ran off. So anyway. Point is, like, it's fun, but it's also a little dicey, depending on where you are.
It can go horribly wrong, horribly fast.
And it can go horribly wrong in different ways that I don't think necessarily people think about that they should think about. I've never done, for example, any of the scuba diving or snorkeling stuff that you've done here on the West Coast. And lately, that has been difficult for anybody who loves to do that kind of thing, because the waters along the coast of LA in 2024 have been a little bit regrettably dirtier than usual. In fact, out of the 10 most polluted beaches, along the entire West Coast, the Santa Monica Pier and that beach area there, Will Rogers State Beach, was ranked 3rd, and it was put at the top of the most polluted of LA County's beaches.
I had no idea.
Right? And sadly, it's not limited to the West Coast. This is an East Coast issue as well. I remember when I was doing CSI New York years ago, we learned during our research there that the city of New York would habitually take old subway cars and just dump them into New York Harbor. You know, they would say, oh, we're creating a new artificial reef, but like you're just dumping your trash. That's really what you're doing. And I shot once behind Lady Liberty, and I'm still haunted by the things that I saw drifting into shore in that water
like
on a daily basis.
Syringes and nurses.
Yeah,
and,
it works. I mean, like it really awful stuff on a daily basis. So this is obviously something that is not great about America and its waterways. And so,
have you ever? I did, and I guess it was just a way for me to go, yes, I'm helping out, and I, you know, on the smallest, most teeny level ever, but Adopt a Beach. The Adopt a Beach.
Yeah, or the Heal the Bay kind of things where you show up and pick up trash and whatever.
Sure.
But look, here's the thing. Whatever we've done is going to pale in comparison to our next guest, because when we get back, you guys, we're not only going to take a very deep dive into this topic of all kinds of junk that does not belong in America's waterways, but we're going to hear about some frankly amazing women who have finally decided to do something directly about helping clean that mess up.
Can't wait.
So hold your breath.
Looking forward to talking to this lovely lady.
That's right. Pinch your nose, hold your breath. We'll be right back.
Be good humans, be good humans, be good humans, or we will think you suck.
Thanks for coming back. Our guest today is the co-founder of something called OLOG.
OLOG,
and if that sounds like an acronym, it is an acronym. It stands for Old Ladies Against Underwater Garbage. Now, this is a wonderful group of women that swim, dive, heave, and remove submerged trash from hundreds of freshwater ponds throughout Cape Cod. Please welcome the incredible Susan Baur. Hello, Susan.
Hello, Susan.
Hi there, guys.
Hey, good to have you here. And I think this is the first guest we've ever had that actually has she's also known as the Turtle Lady.
The Turtle Lady,
yes,
you
she's
say?
the turtle, and for good reason.
I think there's got to be a story there somewhere.
I think there is.
Susan, thank you for joining us on Be Good Humans. For our listeners and our viewers, just to sort of set a map in their minds, Susan, you're joining us from the Cape Cod area of Massachusetts. If you've never been there, first of all, it's beautiful. It's this long, curvy peninsula that kind of extends off the southeastern corner of the state into the Atlantic.
Wow.
But it's also really interesting because if you look down at kind of an aerial view of Cape Cod, you will see that it kind of barely rises above the sea surface, right? And so all of its green area is punctuated by literally hundreds of these freshwater ponds and lakes, and you know, it's all comes from the glacial age, and you know, it kind of left these depressions that filled with fresh water over time.
It's gorgeous.
There's like almost 1,000 or more of these ponds.
I counted them, 996.
Okay, well, there you go. Susan probably knows better than either of us, but some of them can go up to 100 feet deep. But in spite of their beauty, unfortunately, thanks to all the people who love to visit places like Cape Cod year-round, those ponds and those lakes can also get a little bit dirty with pollution, right, Susan?
For the last 500 or 600 years, or the last 1,000 years, because nobody's ever done it. So whatever's been dropped in, whether it's from a tourist or whether it's from an indigenous person throwing deer bones into the pond, 500 years ago, it's still there.
I kind of want to know, let's start off here, kind of at the beginning. What a great idea. How did this all start? How did OLOG come to be? I mean, was it you're sitting around making phone calls to girlfriends going, so what do you guys want to do today? Hey, how about we jump into a cold, murky pond and haul up trash?
No.
How did it start?
I moved down Cape when I was 60, in my mid-60s, to be with a really good guy. And if you move to Chatham, you don't swim in the ocean because you drown, sharks get you, whatever. Right. So I started swimming in ponds, and I really hated them. I mean, they were dark and they were muddy, and it felt like yogurt between my toes.
Yes.
It was awful.
Yes.
And then there were snapping turtles. There were large ones and huge ones. And the legends about snapping turtles, that they're when they bite you, they're like lock joint pliers that won't let go. And even if they die, they won't let go.
Ouch!
But is that if you bother them, or will they just see you there and they're coming after you?
I've learned that it's both. One, you don't want to bother them, and two, if it's a male and it's high mating season, they're very territorial and they want you out of their territory.
Oh man!
So anyway, I swam, and in those early years, I was really very fond of trash because they were markers. There were markers on this trail that went around this sort of murky pond. But, you know, even though there was a beer can here and a bottle there and a lawn chair there, nevertheless, they are the last remnants of undisturbed natural beauty.
Sure.
I mean, you are really in the wilderness when you're in the bottom of a pond. Any farm, it's never been farmed, never been crossed by trails, never been built on. So you're really in a foreign country. So I'm zipping along there, not zipping. I'm very cautiously and carefully swimming around these ponds, thinking, don't worry, you'll get to the lawn chair, then find the beer can. And during these years, when I always swam alone, I would see turtles, and I would see little painted turtles and musk turtles called stink pot turtles. And to my amazement, after a couple of years, I realized that they were as curious about me as I was about them. So they would come to me. They would sit on my head to bask in the sun.
Really?
They would look at I've got pictures of it.
That's amazing.
I have a dive mask and snorkel. I was doing mask and snorkel. And they would come and look at their reflections in my dive mask. And I could see their little eyes moving around and sort of sizing me up. So as I swam over 10, 15 years, I realized that their habitat was getting less and less as people moved in and ran their dogs there. And there wasn't much I could do to help them. And one day I thought, you know, there is just one thing I can do to help turtles, and that is get the trash out, especially things like used spent fireworks that are leaching perchlorates or a car battery, something like that.
Right.
I was swimming that day, unusually, with two friends. We grabbed a guy on the side, stuck a laundry basket between his legs. He was surprised and started to follow him.
I know I'd be.
Yeah. And went around the pond and got maybe not quite a bushel of garbage. And we thought we were freaking heroes.
Sure.
It just for some reason made us feel just ecstatic.
Yeah, of course.
Somebody said, you know, hey, we're a bunch of old ladies against underwater garbage. And the name stuck.
Sure.
And that was the beginning. Now we wouldn't bother with a pond that had one bushel of garbage in it.
Right.
If we can't get 100 pounds, we're disappointed.
Wow.
So we have this weird sort of love-hate relationship to garbage, because what we really want to find is the next pond with 200 pounds of garbage.
Right. The mother load of garbage.
The mother load of garbage.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, and OLOG has got this incredible mission, right? They're swimming to remove trash from ponds, channeling the incredible strength of older women, and then challenging all kinds of other people to try and see beyond the limits, right? To take actual concrete action, as Susan did with her friends, to try and preserve
old lady
the environment.
Power,
With
which
old lady
I
power.
love that term
Exactly.
you used.
Over 64.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
You know, there were 64 to 84. I'm the 84. And we just do all this great stuff.
Well, okay, so there are around 25 of you ranging in age, as you said, from the 64 to 84. Now, so once this got rolling, once this started, there was, and correct me if I'm wrong, but there was so much public enthusiasm for what you were doing that you actually had to start holding tryouts. Now, what did those tryouts entail?
Yeah. How does that work?
So the tryouts, every June we had these tryouts for these women, and there were so many who wanted to join us.
Sure.
And so you had to be able to swim a half a mile in under 30 minutes.
Okay.
Obviously not doing the backstroke. And you had to be able to dive at least down to 8 feet. And basically, you also had to be able to be happy to be suspended in the water for 60 to 90 minutes without touching the bottom. No fins, no stuff like that, because if you touch the bottom, the mud becomes like diving in a cup of coffee and you can't see any trash.
Oh, yeah.
So we were surprised at first. The first tryout, we went from 5 people to 21 people. It was a terrible shock. But now we've got a really close-knit band. And it's interesting because when we talk to environmentalists, they say, thank you, you're cleaning up the ponds, you're cleaning up the planet, you're great environmentalists. But when we talk to women, they say, oh my God, you're great feminists. You're just great feminists. You inspire women of all ages. Even young ones say, I want to be like that. Most of us have kids, many of us have daughters, and they're very proud of us.
Of course.
My daughter's she gets tired of this, but the rest of them are very good. But then when we talk to other groups, they say, you're community builders. That's really what you are.
Yeah.
Because we don't do it by ourselves. We involve the community. We always involve the homeowners association, the pond association. We get them to provide the kayaks and the trash bags, and they get to pay us. Not in money, never take money. Our entire economy is cookies.
Oh my God.
They pay us in homemade cookies.
Now you're speaking our language.
So this is what they get. If you're thinking they work for free, nope, they don't.
They work for cookies?
Cookies and maybe a cup of hot chocolate.
Holy cow.
Oh, yes. Or a gallon.
You might already know this, Susan, and I speak from experience, but here's a little tip for you. Always get the cookies up front.
Oh, yeah.
You get the cookies, then you jump in the pond.
Show me the cookies.
Yeah.
So then logistically, walk us through this a little bit, Susan. So when you partner up with these homeowners associations or a community or whatever, and you bring out the ladies and the volunteers, the whole thing. So how does it kind of work logistically? Like you've got somebody who's presumably in a boat of some sort who is there to sort of help you as you hit that mother lode and start bringing things up. Walk us through a sort of a typical salvage effort.
Okay, the first thing we have to do is scout the pond, because we're not going to jump in a pond that we know nothing about.
Sure.
Okay.
2 or 4 people go and scout it. They count garbage. They don't touch it. Very hard not to do that, but you do that.
Are they also looking out for the turtles, the snapping?
Absolutely.
Turtle
it's
duty.
Job.
And if they find some, are you directed? Does the guide, the first?
I tell them not to get between the snapping turtle and deep water, because that makes them uncomfortable. So we go way around them, or we go way out of their way.
Okay.
So then on the day of the dive, the pond association is there, and they provide the kayaks. We don't have to haul kayaks.
Nice.
And they can provide some of the paddlers, so that we're involving, and that can be any age, any gender. So we've got, let's say, 6 kayaks, or maybe a double kayak, sometimes a Maui mat, just anything, paddleboard, anything that floats. And those become garbage scows. And each garbage scow has 2 swimmers.
Okay.
And they set off, and I have a map of the pond. Okay. And my good swimmers, I say, you swim across the pond. And they say, well, that's about a mile. I say, yeah, that's about a mile. You swim a mile, and then you start diving for garbage on the way back. And the medium swimmers, they'll go a half a mile, and they'll start diving for garbage on the way back.
So it's in waves.
Other ones will start right at the beach, 2 to the right, 2 to the left, with the garbage scows. And in about an hour and a half, the whistles blow. All the kayakers have a whistle. The paddles go up, and it is time to come back. And it's so hard. Everybody cheats. Everybody said, yeah, but there's one more can. I'm not swimming on that can. I'm leaving that can.
Yeah,
they want to keep going.
And so what happens, and this is really key, and this is what's hard to explain, is that when we are underwater, we are riveted to the present moment. We are in the flow, in the zone. We are like a surfer catching waves. We are stoked. We are not excited at that moment, because we are so focused on how do I get those 3 garbage tops that are down under the water. How do I do this? How do I come up and not hit the kayak?
Right.
How close to the shore can I go?
Yeah.
What do I see here? There's a tree. Can I get the lures that are under that tree? No, not without getting another swimmer over there.
Right.
So we're so focused that blessedly we're out of our own heads. We are out of our own minds. We aren't thinking about dinner, about the person we really like or don't like.
Yeah.
Sure.
And when you get totally out of your head, you see and you feel differently.
Of course.
And you think, I am in the perfect balance. I am challenged. It's a demanding task, but I can do it. And then when you come back, it's like shaking a bottle of champagne and popping the cork.
Oh, yeah.
Explode with relief and joy and happiness. And the people on shore watching us wade out, because you stagger. You don't have your land legs yet.
Yeah.
Right.
Stagger out of the water. The kayaks are loaded with G.I. Joes and bowling ball and tennis balls and dog toys and chairs and rugs. I like rugs. Tires. Lift them up and skewer them with the kayak. And they watch us come ashore and they say, what are they smoking? Because we want that. We want that happiness. And that's what surprises everybody.
I have to ask quickly, for a heavy thing, you mentioned a car battery.
Yeah.
How do you dive down in 8-9 feet of water and pull up a heavy car battery?
Or a toilet, as I've read. You've found like all kinds of things. Like
that was our biggest thing.
We're going to get to that in a sec.
There's almost nothing that 3 women can't heave up off the bottom.
Sure.
So when you find something big, you usually go down, give it a tug. Can you move it at all? And if the answer is no, or it's obviously like a truck tire with a rim still in it,
right.
It's going to take 4 women. We know what we're doing. So we gather around, our kayaker blows her whistle, we gather, we come up there, on the count of 3, down we go. We know to push down on one end, pull on the other to break the seal in the mud.
Right.
And then up we come to the extent we can, and then we're on the surface, breathing through our snorkels. And then if it's got a rim in it, we've got to put it on a special, like a Maui mat or a special raft that is towed behind a kayak. If it's just a big tire, we puff and pant, get the kayak in position. On the count of 3, we raise that sucker just about a foot, 2 feet above the water, and the kayak shoots through.
Yeah, here's an idea. You go swim a mile.
Yeah, exactly.
And then about halfway back, raise a car battery from the bottom of the pond.
This is what I keep thinking is like, me, like goal-oriented overachiever. Like when I go exercise or take a walk, like I have to have a goal in mind, right? So it'll be like something I make up, like, I'm going to count all the different kinds of flowers in my neighborhood today. I've literally done nothing compared to this woman and her amazing group. Listen, you are a general. No, actually, admiral would be the better term appropriate here.
Sure.
You're an admiral I would follow into battle in any pond in America, Susan.
And let's go here, Susan. We have so many things to ask you. The dangers you all face. Now, you mentioned the snapping turtles, the dark, murky water, and I was wondering if you could share the story of the commode that you ladies lifted and what came out of that there commode when it started draining outside the on top of the water.
That was certainly the toughest dive I've ever been on, and the danger really is the cold. It's always the cold, even in the middle of summer. So this was the end of July, and we had gotten the Boston Globe to agree to come down and do a photo essay on the dive.
Nice.
Good.
And the only way we could get him was that we'd done this dive. We'd scouted 5 or 6 ponds, and we said, you're going to want the pond with the toilet. Oh, yes. I said, I'm locked in. That does it.
Let's go.
Paris, Walls, anybody can come to Boston. I'm coming to the toilet.
Yeah, nothing draws the American media like a toilet, right?
And it's always hard for the ladies to get into the toilet.
Exactly.
It's the longest line there.
When you need a toilet, where is it?
Where is it? Yes.
So anyway, it's raining. It's blowing 20 miles an hour. And we think, what are we going to do with this photographer? Right. Luckily, somebody volunteered a pontoon boat. So we stick him on the pontoon boat, and he's got a camera that's, 3 feet long. So he can do that. And we had everybody wanted to be in the Boston Globe. So we had the whole team. We had probably 20 people.
Right.
We've got kayakers, we've got swimmers, and we swim and we swim and we swim, and we can't find the toilet.
Mm-hmm.
And we can't find anything else because the wind has whipped up the water and we cannot see what, not anything.
Now, Susan, were you informed? Were you told it's probably in this area is where it's been spotted? So you kind of knew what direction?
Yeah.
I was among the people who found it. I was with them when they found it. And we looked ashore and we said, it's by the gray shed. It's right off the gray shed.
Sure. Okay.
Great. So there we were, and we went out and we couldn't find it. And the rain rained and we got colder and colder and nothing good was happening.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Finally, one of the very good swimmers came to me and she said, you have to tell people to go back. You have to call off this dive. We are blue. We are getting cold.
Oh my.
And that's I think the one time I have cried through a snorkel, And
no.
You had press publicity.
Yeah, this is a big day.
Photography.
We had blown it. We had just blown it. And so I gave the call and they went back, and the fast ones went back fast and the mediums went back. And I was tag end. I was going to be the last. I was going to not let anybody get left behind.
Sure.
And we'd been looking off the wrong shed. And when we finally got to the right gray shed, the woman who found it the first time found it again and screamed, toilet! There were only 5 of us left, and we went down on that sucker and we lassoed it. We knew how, we made a plan. We lassoed the tank. We heaved it up so that a kayak could then have it suspended below the kayak. Then, of course, the kayaker couldn't paddle. We got behind the kayak. We pushed it into 3 feet, 4 feet of water and lifted it up, got the picture. And then I said, guys, tip it towards me, get the water out before we put it on the kayak.
Okay.
And out comes this full-sized eel who'd been lifted out of the toilet.
Full-sized.
Oh my God, Freud, where are you?
Where? Right. He went through your legs. You said it was squirming around.
Oh my! Because I said tip it towards me. I could see right out of the throat of the toilet came.
Wow! But that was a banner. That was a banner day for that Boston Globe reporter, man. He was getting everything.
And for the eel.
Yeah.
It was a banner day for all of us. We were so proud of that.
And that picture is worth $1 billion. We will put that up.
Absolutely.
For everyone to see if you're watching on YouTube or wherever you watch your podcast. It is just, it's inspiring. It's like, all right. It's like the Sands of Iwo Jima. It's kind of like that. That's how inspiring it can be.
Well, when you work that hard for it, absolutely. So now, Susan, exactly. So Susan, you mentioned, I think you mentioned it was a guy that you originally came out to that area for. Then you made another passing mention of some dude with a laundry basket you stuffed between his legs. As a couple of knucklehead guys here, where I'm beginning to notice that there's not much mention of many, if any, male volunteers in this process. Is that the case?
Oh, it's only for women. It's the old ladies against underwater garbage.
Thank God. I just want to make sure that there's no idiots like us that are trying on the fringes to get into this.
But you say it's only women,
right?
64 years and older, and again, you have to go through the tryouts and show what you got in the water. But no men are able to join because you say they are, quote, too competitive.
It's not just that.
They're idiots.
Well,
where's the beer?
I think women work really well together, and I think that just the way, and men know this, that if you want a really intimate conversation with the lads, with your buddies, it's going to be in a place where there isn't any women. It becomes a different story. It becomes a distraction.
Sure,
it's the same for women. You get a bunch of women in a sauna, they're going to talk differently than if there's one guy there or two guys there.
Right.
It just works so well.
But you do let the men volunteer for like the garbage trials,
the
kayaking.
Absolutely.
Okay, well,
just so they know their place.
Yeah,
exactly.
And they can make cookies, I'm assuming.
Every once in a while, we did a pond cleanup for a man who spent his entire life as a chef. That was very good.
There we go.
Okay.
he labeled each of the cookies.
Oh, that's impersonal.
Chef, does your pot need cleaning again? No, it's fine. It doesn't. Are you sure? We can come over and clean it
We
again.
can throw a toilet in it.
No, it's fine. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, well, Susan, you're just extraordinary, and regardless if folks, whether you're women, if you're living or swimming in the Cape Cod area, you want to get involved, or you're just listening from afar, and you want to somehow help this incredible mission of OLOG, but can't necessarily don a wetsuit and dive in directly. Is there a way that our listeners and our viewers can help OLOG from afar, Susan?
Sure. They can go to our website, which is OLAUG-MA.com.
Okay, OLOG-MA.com.
And see some wonderful pictures there as well.
Wonderful
Fantastic.
pictures, wonderful videos, and there's a donate page, and that's really useful because what we really want to do is we don't want to get larger.
Sure.
You can't manage 50 women on a dive.
Right.
Yeah.
So we want to start chapters in Rhode Island and Connecticut and Middle Mass and maybe out.
Yeah, get out west, would you? We need some help out here.
Okay.
Well, Susan, what you're doing is not only special for your community and the country and the environment in general, but it also makes us smile. So thank you for that.
Special for us. Scale up joy.
You call it the old lady energy, and it's incredibly inspiring. I do have a couple of questions. We'll call them cleanup questions because I would just be driving home from the show today going, oh, man, I didn't get a chance to ask her.
Fair.
Have you or your lovely volunteers ever kept anything you brought up that you found maybe a personal treasure?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Everybody's got first dibs on what they find. Personally, I like toys. So I have a squirt gun collection.
Oh, wow.
Small ones. I have a squirt gun that looks like a frog, another one that looks like an elephant that squirts out its butt. It's wonderful. Great one. Other people like signs. Other people like flags and signs.
I think I take the commode just because, sans full-size eel.
Someone offered to buy it.
Eel
Someone offered to buy it?
Someone offered to buy it.
That's
they emailed
amazing.
us and said, we'll buy it.
Another question is it true, Susan, that some folks have a real problem with the name Old Ladies Against Underwater Garbage?
Yeah, and they suggest glitter litter mermaids.
Oh, no.
God.
Every once in a while, when we get comments after a news article or something, they're amazingly positive compared to the snarky stuff that you sort of expect. But every once in a while, we will get a man who will go off in a blind rage that he is, God forbid, being excluded from something.
Oh, God.
I doubt he could swim, but and then the other thing is the women who are aghast that we should call ourselves old. Never do that. People will think you do that.
Oh, my.
I'm 84. This is what 84 looks like. This is what 84 can do. I think one of the great underutilized resources in the United States are women from 64 to 84.
Mm-hmm. No question. And we should all be so lucky as to look and feel anything like you, Susan, when we're in our 80s. So we
don't look anything like her now.
No, not even close.
I'm not in that kind of shape. To swim a mile in less than an hour.
I'm lucky if I can do a couple of laps in my own pool. Really, we cannot thank you enough for taking the time, sitting out in the cold of Cape Cod, interrupting your own holiday to join us today. We really, really genuinely appreciate you and everything that OLOG is doing for all of us.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
We love you very much and keep up the great work.
Indeed.
You can't stop us.
Wouldn't even try.
On that note, we'll be back right after this.
Be good humans, be good humans, be good humans, or we will think you suck.
Welcome back to Be Good Humans. Oh my God, that woman's amazing.
Can't imagine hanging with her. I would. You just want to go have a hot chocolate and a cookie.
Yeah.
And just sit and listen to her stories.
And just have her yell at me and tell me what to do.
Inspiring, yes.
She's truly amazing and truly inspiring, like you said. But you know who else is amazing, Brian? That rocket scientist and the astronaut that we spoke to who teach kids how to reach for space and the stars.
Yes.
The chefs, that we have met who not only feed hungry kids, but help families across the country get off the streets.
The bee guy. I love the bee guy.
Who humanely saves bees, or the guy who ran across Canada for cry for heart research.
The truck driver, the female truck driver.
Exactly. The woman who survived a terrible car accident and then not only made a promise to herself to go travel the world, but has since taught women all over the world how to travel solo themselves.
And the incredible musician, singer, songwriter who shares what she's learned for free to people wanting to start their own musical career.
Yeah, look, the fact is we have gotten this unique privilege of speaking with so many incredibly good humans this year, and it has been such a genuine gift to be able to share their stories with each of you. Now, you may not have realized this while listening, but this podcast was kind of always intended for us to be a limited series of sorts. But fortunately, you know what's not limited, Brian, at all?
Our friendship, our adoration.
Absolutely.
Yes.
But what is also thankfully not limited is the ability that each and every one of us has to try, just like Susan Baur, to try and make some kind of uniquely positive difference in this world. So, look, we're going to say goodbye for now, but if Brian and I have accomplished anything with this podcast, I hope, and I know you feel the same way, that we've inspired each of you to try and find your own ways to carry on being good humans yourselves.
And if you're listening to this podcast, whether you've heard all of them or not, the fact that just that you wanted to check it out kind of tells us that you are a good human.
Yes.
You not to watch us, but I mean just because you relate to being a good human and love hearing the stories of inspiring people.
That is absolutely right. And speaking of good humans, I know that we have a number of good humans that we want to speak to right now. I know we both want to thank our fellow executive producer, Grant Anderson. Ryan, if you can bring him up. We want to thank you.
Let's bring him up real quick before we go on.
There he is. Grant, we want to thank you for working so tirelessly behind the scenes to make both of us look and sound good.
And he didn't even want cookies.
He didn't want cookies.
He didn't even ask for cookies.
But the truth is, Grant, and we've said this to you directly, but we want to say it before our entire audience, we absolutely could not have done any of this without you. You are a dear friend and a godsend.
And it was a joy to watch, to see how you work, to see how the Hollywood bigs do it. You know, the problem solvers.
Well, your bar is clearly very low, but that's okay. Thank you.
We thank you, Grant. We love you, Grant. We also want to thank both of our associate producers, Sean Fitzgerald. Let's get him up on camera if we can.
The hardest worker here.
He's always right there behind the scenes, giving us thumbs up or laughing. It means more than you'll ever know.
And he contacts the people we like want to talk to. He's just an amazing guy.
He's helped us do tons of research for every one of these guests. He's even helped set up this set every week. Sean, thank you for that. You are absolutely the real deal. And although we couldn't have her join us, Ryan, if you could bring up the photo of my darling daughter, Clementine Calloway, who put her incredibly creative social media marketing skills to work on our behalf every week, helping us get the word out about every episode. Thank you, Clemmy.
One of my favorite things, Clem, and we just first met when she came to my house. We were going to do quick little promos for this, and one of my favorite things is she just looks at me and goes, "Brian, I'm going to be asking you to do things that you're not going to understand why."
Welcome to my world.
All right.
So thank you, Clem.
She's fantastic.
We definitely want to thank, you can't see him on camera because we don't have an angle on him, but we want to thank Ryan Tillotson and all of our amazing partners at Straw Hut Media who have been just completely instrumental in getting us on the air in literally every way imaginable. So listen, friends, if you are going to make a podcast, do yourself a big favor and do it at Straw Hut.
Straw Hut.
And Brian.
Yes, my friend.
More than anybody else, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for inspiring this show really over many, many years with all of the love and the laughter that you gave me. I know I've spoken about this, so is Grant. You gave me, so many of your listeners in LA and around the country. Making this show with you, getting to hear my own voice in conversation with one of my greatest radio heroes has been not only a dream come true, but it has really taught me all kinds of things. It has also, I hope, hopefully helped me be some kind of better version of myself. But I just want you to know I am deeply grateful for all of that. You are the absolute OG good human.
I could say the same about you. I got a chance to see how you work too. The process of being a showrunner, the process on a different level. Sure, this is a podcast and you doing, major TV shows and movies, but I got to see you and Grant, how both of you, how that level of organization of every little detail of that the structure got to work. So I experienced that, and I'm very thankful for that. But I got to have fun with you and Grant and Sean and Clem. I got to have fun, and that's more important than anything is just enjoying what you do, looking forward to coming in, doing a show, sometimes not even knowing, how it's going to go. But I told you all in our introduction episode many months ago that there will be times where we're doing the show, we're doing the interview, and I'll just stop talking, forgetting there's a microphone in front of me, just to hear you and your eloquence, and you turn a phrase better than anybody I know. If it can be said in 2 words, he'll take 20
minutes to say it.
And
yes,
they're beautiful
and then
words.
poor Grant has to edit it up. But thank you for that, my friend. Thank you for all of it.
Honor.
Again,
it was an honor to work with you.
I couldn't agree more. We're going to keep the links up for OLOG and all of the other guests over this past 10,000 episodes on our website, thebegoodhumanspodcast.com. So please continue to support any or all of their inspiring efforts. But most importantly, please do us a favor. Keep right on doing what my partner Brian Phelps has been asking all of you to do for so many years in the past, and will hopefully continue to do for so many years to come. And what would that be again, Mr. Phelps?
Well, that would be, please be good humans in whatever level or form or way you want to be good humans. And I will also say that I'm looking forward to our next venture, or our next project. This was a great it was almost kind of felt like, especially at the beginning, an experiment.
Yeah.
Like, can you have fun while talking about 9/11?
Yeah.
And being respectful. Can you have fun talking about these sometimes dark?
Yeah. Someone who lost a spouse, someone who was in an accident, whatever it is.
Yeah. Sometimes not happy, but you can be that way with it and still respect. And I think I'm very proud of us. I'm very proud of the show for achieving that.
Well, a good time was had by all, and that's because from the beginning to the end, we have surrounded ourselves with good humans. So please be good humans.
Be good humans. Bye-bye.
Be good humans. Be good humans. Be good humans, or we will think you suck.
Be Good Humans is executive produced by Brian Phelps, Trey Calloway, and Grant Anderson, with associate producers Sean Fitzgerald and Clementine Calloway, in partnership with Straw Hut Media. Please like, follow, and subscribe, and remember, be good humans.